Hey, so let's get into this. My name is Justice Quiller. I am here to talk about a multitude of different topics, a whole lot of stuff that can be educational, entertaining. Hopefully this can be helpful for young adults, any type of race, any color, any color, couple, relationship, young adults, parenting, life in just a whole. So let's dive into this. Okay, so like what I was saying, this video is gonna have a couple bloopers, by the way. So like what I was saying, I do have my first disclaimer. I have no ill intent towards the mother of my child. I still obviously wish the best for her. We've been through a lot. This is me starting. This is just this. I'm just gonna say this is the start out. This is the start out process. I have no ill intent towards her family. I barely know her family. I paused. I was going on to say that still wish the best for her. I hope we could all work this out, but you know, I'm kind of in a corner now, which I will go on to explain, but I want to take this slow. I want this to be this will be about an hour-long episode. Let's learn. Let's dive into some information. Today's topic will be legitimation of paternity. Not legitimization or a whole nother word, legitimation. I had to learn that too. Legitimation of paternity. I'm gonna put that on the screen. We're gonna have vocab words in this series of episodes. Cause if you don't know me, one thing about me is my favorite category in school was always social studies. So blah blah. Somehow I started liking foreign languages. I want to learn another foreign language. I'm trying to learn Spanish. So I like to keep a good vocabulary. I like knowing big words other people don't know and they got to go look it up, right? That's that type of deal. So we're going to have vocab words on the screen. In their textbook definition, it won't be a Wikipedia definition. I'll promise that to y'all. I'll never give y'all a Wikipedia definition. So, topic of today, legitimation of paternity. All right. So, what I like to start out with, when you have a question or a topic at hand, you have to present the four W's and the one H, right? So the what, the when, the why, the how, and what the heck, right? So what am I talking about? My situation is that about 9 months not 9 months, but 9 months plus almost a year. So a year and 9 months ago, I got a girl pregnant. And I'll just say from the jump, I really didn't know anything about her, right? So I got her pregnant, and one key thing about this podcast, our key phrase for this episode at least will be stay on topic. So what am I talking about? You just didn't work out. So now his birthday is coming up. You will go on to figure out why that's important later. As of now, I have to legitimize my last name, that I am the father, so I can go on to get custody, right? That answers that question. What am I talking about? Legitimation of paternity. I want to put my last name on my seed, my kid, right? All right, so boom. Why am I talking about this? Because so I can shed light on a lot of situations around the world, not respect people that could have played a different role in life, played a different card, but let certain obstacles get in their way. Also, why am I talking about this? Because this has an emotional effect on me. This has a very emotional effect on me. As you can see, I've paused many times trying to make this video. Not that I don't know what to say. It's really that this is the whole process. I want y'all to go along with it, with me. I don't even have a thesis for this video, the hook to catch y'all or whatever. I just have the what, whens, and whys of why I'm talking about this. Then let's stay on topic. When was this? I went on to tell y'all it was about a year, 9 months ago. Baby's birthday is coming up in a couple of days. Yeah, and in the span, she, you know, it was just quick. We went through a lot of things in like 2 months. Then another week or so, she talking about she pregnant. So I'm hearing that. Yeah, his first birthday, my first kid will be 1. I am 21 if I haven't told y'all that. I was born in the great state of Mississippi, South Haven, right outside of Memphis. Moved to South Georgia. Moved to South Georgia at an early age. I'll just go on to say that. Stay on topic. Where was this? South Georgia. It was when I was presenting this to myself in my head, I was like, how am I gonna answer the where, or like, where could this have happened? But you know what I'm saying? All this took place at my, other than the girl, wrecking my car out by where she stays. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna cut it. I'm tired of cutting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I can answer the question, where was this? It was in the local area where I live. How did this happen? For me personally, I got with a girl. Why am I in this? Why am I in this boat? Why am I in this? Same topic. How did this happen? See, I wish I had this mic, but it doesn't work. Or well, by the end of this journey with y'all, hopefully I should have it set up. One of y'all can come help me or whatever. But how did this happen? Stay on topic. I got in a relationship too quick, or I got a girl pregnant too quick. But it's hard to say that because my son came out so dang beautiful. Can't cuss on this. So darn beautiful. I can't let this obstacle get in my way, so that's why I'm bringing y'all on the journey. So this can be very entertaining and emotional. This is a whole roller coaster through my life. I'll show the court process and all that. If I can pull out my phone, who knows, nowadays. But I wrote on my notebook, talk about ChatGPT real quick, because my mother is a big factor, in my life. Mama's boy growing up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So we chatting it up or whatever, chopping it up. We be using ChatGPT a lot. We're familiar with ChatGPT. We just be asking it little questions here and there. So we are like make a podcast for like a man trying to get legitimation for paternity, and it would drop some bullet points down, and the bullet points on my phone probably couldn't pull it up through my email, but I'm just gonna put trying to get legitimation of paternity. I can't think about what we asked the computer. We are going to have a lot of vocab words. And the good thing about this process is I don't know what the next vocabulary word is, but every vocabulary word is going to be very important. All right, so this is just giving out everything I'm gonna have to deal with, right? Filing a petition for legitimation, paternity testing, court hearing, final order. And let me just see what the bottom says. All right, cool. So I remember one of the bullet points that my mom's search on ChatGPT found was I'm gonna write it in where's my red pen? Right here. I'm gonna write it in red that one of the points was the importance of fatherhood. Right? I don't think we're gonna talk about that right now, but just a key fact like that. Right? And this is such a good example, right? This is such a good example. Why? It's a good example on two things. I like to ramble on and I like to explain life, right? So the good analogy of why fatherhood is important. I would say tradition. You're passing on legacy, to give a short answer just right there. 2, this simple question of why I said I'm writing this important stuff in and all of itself about my son and this process of me trying to legitimize my son. Why am I writing important key facts with a red pen? Why is that important to me? Because red, everybody has different meanings for the color red. Red can mean anger for you, aggression, pain, blood. Red could mean acid, whatever you think red represents to you. It's probably in a negative connotation, but that's not how I see anything I could reproduce. That's not how I perceive it. The color red is beautiful. It's one of my My favorite color, if I could rank it in top 5, would be black, purple, red, green, or blue, or whatever. But let's stay on topic. Why would I choose the color red? My son, in and of himself, my mother, not my mother, my baby's mother. My baby's mother is about 5'6", 5'7". So I just feel like he's gonna be, probably taller than me. I stopped to be 5'10". I know, you know what I'm saying. I feel like my kid's gonna be he's just gonna be bigger than me, probably playing football, you know what I'm saying? Little fun dreams like that, you know what I'm saying, that I think of my son. So I'm just gonna write the color red. The analogy of tradition, just like how I think something so crazy, right? That just red is important to write down on my, just something so inconspicuous, whatever. That's another vote, inconspicuous. The importance of fatherhood, right? I answered tradition. Just simply what another man thinks and what is passed down through generations. That is I'm gonna write that in black. Just what another. That is very tradition. That is basically. I'm gonna have the textbook definition, but that's how I interpret the word tradition. Tradition. What another. I'll say society. I'll say society. What society passes down to the next generation. Tradition. That is a key topic, because I wanted to start this off by saying I have no ill intent towards my baby's mother, right? And I don't want to, bash her in any way, light, or form. You will go on to find out in this process. We want to work with her. This team over here wants to work with her, right? So, tradition. What society passes down to the next generation, right? So it's all about the village. Another key word, important. Tradition and village. Village. The people that are raised around you, right? I'm gonna let's talk about my family first, I guess, right? Since we're going to court, and she has the opportunity to contest, right? Another word, we're gonna write contest. She has the opportunity to contest my legitimation of paternity. Contest. So I'll have the opportunity to contest my legitimation of paternity. So those three keywords, vocab words that I just listed out, that'd almost be an answer for why I'm trying to why this could go very wrong if I don't see my son of those facts and emotionally, if y'all can see what I'm saying, right? So tradition, village, and contest. Tradition. So I want, obviously I want my son to be raised, just like me, obviously. That's not a bad trait at all. All right, I'll just shorthand that answer right there. Village. The people raised around. All right. Not to bash my baby mother, right? I mean, at a certain point, it's going to have to get crucial. My baby's mother did not grow up in a two-parent household like me, right? I say this in the start, I really didn't know my baby's mother like that. And so I go on to figure out that, apparently she's a loner, right? She don't got friends or whatever. And I kind of knew about girls kind of in my generation, like they don't really want like a family, so to speak. They really kind of just want a long lasting friend, you know what I'm saying? And a female can get that in the kid. I'm happy. I just wrote down all my 5 bullet points for the chat GPT my mother looked up. So now I kind of don't have to pause, right? We can dive into this learning. I don't have to pause anymore and gather my thoughts. I can just look at the notes that I wrote down. So, right, I stopped at the mother's resistance. Why would she refuse me to legitimate my paternity? Why would she contest a keyword? Why would she contest that? Right? So, a bullet point that popped up was hurt. Like, is she hurt? Does she feel betrayed? Fear? Control? The question is, what's driving the resistance? It's going to be on the screen. What's driving the resistance? One thing about this podcast is we answer questions, right? And one thing about me is if there's a question at hand, and be the person in life that answers it and doesn't just complain about the problem, right? So boom, does she feel hurt? Is she hurt about what I, like in the past, what I have done to her? This with me admitting, accountability, right? So if you ask me on a regular day, what do I feel like what I did to bother this girl? So we had a quick relationship, like 2 months. We like, but the last month or the second month or whatever, we like break up or whatever. And long story short, I remember just 2 times she caught a girl on my phone or whatever, right? So the first time it was whatever, we ain't have a kid then, right? I ain't know, like, first time we ain't have a kid, so she was just mad for a little second. Boom, got back right. I figure out, that's when I figure out I get her pregnant. Boom, boom. So that's if you ask me if I've hurt her. No, I've never punched the girl. I've never physically hurt the girl. Does she feel betrayed? Those incidents right there. I would never know. I'm not that person, and maybe she expected more of me. Type stuff. Yeah, I don't feel like she feels betrayed at all. But to start this off with, because I did start it off with, she grew up as a loner. I kind of grew up, having, friends, abundant, whatever, right? So we're dealing with a different type of person. So this is what I love about, storylines. You get different characters and you get different emotions and how they feel, right? So she grew up being a loner, right? So, maybe when I do something small, people that have, trauma childhoods or whatever, they take it harder than the average Joe, right? Say I'm the average Joe, right? So they take these emotions, they take them very, the mind is real. Like what me and my mom were just talking about, that stuff gets you like, so did she feel betrayed? Stay on topic. Did she feel betrayed? I don't, it's not up to me to judge. It's her opinions, right? Does she fear us? There's going to be different events you learn about in this. There's going to be different events you learn about in this this process, this journey right here. Does she fear me? No, I've never hurt her. I've never hurt her. Emotionally, does she fear me? No, I'm not the type to yell at you. I'm not the type to yell at you. Not the. I don't see why. If you know me personally, I don't see why you should fear me, right? Control. If I'm accepting accountability, like when we get into it or whatever, like, and this is when the kid was involved, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to, out of respect of what, I used to say a little crazy stuff, like, if I get all into what I said, I'll say one thing, like, to admit what I've said, right? She admit that she playing with my feelings and stuff with this kid situation. I'll be like, man, when I get rich, like, I'm taking that kid, like, whatever I gotta do, like, that's an out of spite thing to say, but it's like, what I'm saying, you playing with my feelings so much, right? Control is a big thing, because, to a mother, her kid is, number one, just like me, but a mother, there ain't nothing like a mother's love, and that's just true, right? Comes out of them. I respect it. They live with it for 9 months, right? Give it to them, right? The control part, right? Like, is she scared, like, the kid might like me more or something. Women have a lot of emotional tendencies who man can't describe, right? So this goes on to ask the question, what is driving the resistance? All right, so if you were to ask me what is driving the resistance with this girl, if I could try to pinpoint it, I will say her background. Another vocabulary word. Boom. I'm not going to pause this video to write that down. Her background. Vocabulary word. Right? So I gave you one keynote. She grew up as a loner, right? Then, I lost train of thought earlier, and I was talking about the village, right? Boom. Vocabulary word. Background. Village. In and of itself, that is the same thing, right? So, who were you raised by? Who's around you, right? Let's generalize it. a percentage. It is a higher percent to be just like your parent than you think. You can debate me on that, right? A good, since Netflix is casting over the background, and one of my favorite shows is Shameless. Good example of just a whatever you want to describe dad grown. If you know Shameless, you know Shameless. That is a good recommendation. Stick to the topic. Background. Her mother, a key character in this situation, right? Key character in this whole dilemma. Her mother, right? And I have a brother. I love this man right here. My older brother, right? He say he graduated college around 22, right? That's when he started watching his, Andrew Tate, his the Saint, the Sinner, all these alpha male ideologies, right? And he would go on to say, like, it would speak on, they would speak on women in different topics, and I'm a firm believer. I don't want to, one thing about me, I do not want to be sexist, but I am a firm believer. If a woman can't keep a good relationship, that's probably it's kind of almost leaning on her, right? If definitely if she's had many relationships, it's almost leaning on her. I don't see how it wouldn't be, right? So her mother I don't know how she grew up, but all I know is she hasn't have a stable husband, right? I'm just gonna say that she's never had a stable husband, and a past event of me pulling up on her on Valentine's Day, she just left her other occasion, right? She just left her other situation, so she's around, like, not saying sexually, right? She's around. She's not in a stable relationship, right? So that's her background. On the other hand, right, my village, right? My parents have been married my whole lifespan, right? That's a key factor. If you don't believe in that, you need to believe that. Let me see. Not gonna pause it. All right. The next key point is the father's responsibility. I wanting to be involved is the only beginning. I was kind of having trouble interpreting that, but if I can interpret it, it is just me wanting to, I got to take initiative for this to even be a discussion, because just like many cases, the guy tries to, he runs off or whatever. He doesn't give a crap about the baby. And, me and my mom would go on to talk like, this is rare. This is really rare to be doing this. And that is a key factor why I'm almost doing this. Cause, it probably is just rare for, almost in a black male and, American society to, pursue this. It's almost rare. There's a lot of good dads out there, right? Don't want to, not put light on them. We respect them. Just like I was saying at the start, it's the guys that don't take accountability for their seed and let these kids just run out here freely and not benefit society at all for us, right? The father's responsibility, stay on topic. Why wanting to be involved is the only beginning. Like I just described, if I don't press this issue, then this wouldn't be an issue, right? Skip. Owning past mistakes. This is very good, right? Owning past mistakes. Like I just told y'all, probably we would be on and off, right? I'd probably be texting other girls. But I will say this, since I'm saying that right there, right? When I figured out I got this girl pregnant, I'm a foreseer. If I could give myself an adjective or a description, I'm a foreseer. I like to predict the future. Obviously, if you get a girl pregnant, her family's gonna come up to you. Oh, you gonna be there? That first initial talk, like, oh, so what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna be there? Essentially, I'm telling them, because I'm gonna have the same talk with my parents. I'm telling them I'm gonna be there for my kid. Like, I don't know, like, I hate trying to be so serious, but I'm like, if you don't take anything I say serious, take this serious, I will be there for my kid. The fondling, the bamboozling part about it in my head is, if you're gonna have this conversation with me, what I'm saying, at the start, like, this is very, controversial, right? Like, this is so controversial. You're gonna have to start with me, like, are you gonna be there for my kid? Then I say yes. Then I show interest. Then you put obstacles in front of my way, AKA not giving me a birthplace for where my child's gonna be there. I'm just gonna say that right there, right? Like that, putting obstacles in front of my way, you're making it hard for me, right? Boom, right? Owning past mistakes. I accept what I've done. Right? It's her emotions that, take place too, right? Like, has she owned her past mistakes, right? I'm probably the most terrible person in her head, right? Probably had a little female on my phone. I ain't never punched her. Like, we were pretty cool. Like, what I'm saying? Like, my homeboy said or whatever. Like, when we popped out, like we were pretty cool. Like, we ain't never like used to argue in public or whatever. Like, we ain't never do that. And until the kid came around, and you know what I'm saying. And I don't even want to say it like that, because if my son ever runs across this video, like, you know what I'm saying, like, man, you look just like me, man. I could never hate you. Like, what the heck? Like, man, you look just like me. That is so crazy. All right, boom. Next key topic, because I think I am probably running on like the 20-minute mark right now. I need another key point, but I got 5 facts for y'all. 5 bullet points we're gonna talk about now. That maybe we can just, talk it up at the end or go through these, right? Legal versus relationship access, right? This says understanding rights, custody, visitation, and court orders. We're gonna skip past that, right? This one's very important. How legal battles affect children emotionally, right? Child support is one thing, right? But finances would never be a problem. But the kid, I don't know if she's ever thinking about, every weekend, say I get custody, every weekend, right? And we be beefing now, so imagine when she got to drop off her kid to me, right? He got to see this for 18 years. Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, you almost got to have some sympathy. Like, geez, like, what, we going to be beefing for 18 years? Like, this is what I basically be saying. I ain't did nothing to her for her to not be thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? How can, stay on topic, right? How can legal battles affect children? He got to grow up hearing, yeah, my mom's single or whatever. Who knows if she going to have a boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, they divorced or whatever. Boom, bam. She got to be hearing that. Who knows? I don't even know what she going to be saying to my kids. So now I got to reprogram him when he come to when he come to the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, whole bunch of stuff that can be avoided. Then all right, yeah, I know what we can talk about. I know what we can talk about at the later portions of this video. A black household. That's what we are going to talk about. Why, in and of itself, another key factor. Why am I talking about legitimation of paternity? This goes into the why. How legal battles affect children, right? Basically, none of that has to be happening, right? None of that has to be happening. We can fix whatever we went through. And I have receipts, hate to be like that. I have receipts of me trying to work it out with her, right? If I'm just so difficult, I'm trying to work it out with her, right? All right, we're going to go to the first point. Understanding rights, custody, visitation, and court orders, right? I've never had a kid before. I'm learning. This is the process. I'm learning of, custody. Like, I don't even know how much custody I'm going to get to answer that word. Visitation, I only know about what I've heard about, all likes of that. Court orders, I don't know nothing about that, right? But I will say about the word court, right? That goes into, has she owned her mistakes? She's done some dirt on me. She just some stuff she probably hasn't expected. We're going to label that as dirt that she probably hasn't accepted, right? So, this all goes in, we like to backtrack, right? Stay on topic. We like to backtrack, but stay on topic. Why, what is that answer? Has she owned her past mistakes, right? Why could this, basically, how could this be, prevented? Like, I don't know how to put it. All right, next one. Communication breakdown. All right, yeah, since I'm not pausing anymore, let me just speak, from off the head. Like, it goes back, let's backtrack. It goes back to the village, right? Does it all right, you got to think. Communication breakdown. Break down the word. Might just be a vocabulary word. Communication, well, it's already one, right? Communication breakdown. Word communication. Does she know how to communicate? Do I know how to communicate, right? Boom. But, just off of statistics, I probably know how to communicate better than her. You know what I'm saying? If, my parents got some accolades, right? I'm just going to go on and say oh man, they're two doctors, you know what I'm saying? Two doctors, right? So they got their little accolades or whatever. I've grown up in an education household. Then on the other hand, you know what I'm saying? Her mother works a job, you know what I'm saying? I could be working, right? And she hasn't had a stable relationship. Then, we ain't gonna bash. We're not gonna bash. But there's just something about this storyline that it's just an ick on me. Apparently, she was going on in her life and she lost custody. She lost custody of my baby's mother, right? And my baby mother's childhood. She lost custody of her mom. That's just a very, very big red flag in my head, because how the heck as a woman do you lose your daughter? You know what I'm saying? So now that I think, not now that I think about it, but, in my head, her opinion's kind of invalid. But to go on to think about it, this lady doesn't even have an opinion. Y'all are probably gonna, I got voice recordings of everything I be hearing, right? I've heard a lot of stuff throughout this throughout this dilemma. Stay on topic. I be rambling. Communication breakdown. Does she know how to communicate? This is why I started off. Like, why would you ask me if I want to be in the kid's life? Then I go on to say yes, right? Then you basically, I hate to put this short end of the stick, but you basically stripped me from she basically stripped me from the child's life, right? Like, she couldn't give me a location on where he was born. I could show you, what I'm saying? I could show you text messages, which I'm going to eventually end up showing y'all, because I know some of y'all going to hop in hating. But I can show you text messages where, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be at the birthplace. Obviously, I wanted to do all that cute, ideal stuff. All that, what I'm saying? Baby pictures, baby bump photos and all likes of that. Like, what? I was talking to my mom today, like, what man do you hear say that to the woman? Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I want to do all that cute stuff. Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, she playing with me, like, not telling me where the kid born and, lying to my folks about certain stuff. Doing all likes of that, just making it hard, blocking me on the phone and stuff. That goes a long way, because, give me y'all opinion, because if you block me on the phone, am I lazy for not getting a text now number to, am I lazy for doing that? I'm just going to ask that question. Am I lazy for not making a text now number when you block me? Like, what type of sense does that make? She blocks me, makes it difficult and stuff. No, I'm just trying to see my kid, right? So boom, bam, I'll say, so that's probably about the 3-month mark. Now I'm talking off the head, 3-month mark. Probably, I'm after she, like, she had unblocked me and stuff and sent me ultrasounds, and I didn't see him, whatever. I wouldn't see him, but, like, she had blocked me. She had sent me ultrasounds, then blocked me again. Then some time will go on. Long story short, I ain't seen him till he was about 4 months. 4 months, 5 months, something like that. She was hesitant. She wouldn't even tell me his name. She wouldn't tell me his birthday. She was playing with me, right? She was playing with me. So I ain't end up seeing my little son till he was about 4 months. The little light-skinned version of me. I go on to see him, and she's in some motel. Of course she's in some motel, like, what I'm saying? Like, gosh, it was around the time one of them hurricanes passed. Like, I can't think of it, you know what I'm saying? One of them hurricanes passed and she in the motel or whatever. I'm like, you can at least hit me up. Like, we don't be going through nothing that you gotta hate me this bad and do your own thing like this. Like, Like, I want to be there for you. Like, you put me on block, making it hard for me. Like I'm not, like, I don't know. It's not even, you know what I'm saying? Boom, 3 month mark. I start spending some money because, like, all right, she would go on. Okay, that goes on to why would she contest? She would go on to say, probably say, you know, financial reasons or whatever. Why she tried to say that, right? 4 month mark, right? I get around my kid, I start spending money on them. What the heck? I start spending money on them. I got receipts, you know what I'm saying? 4 month mark, boom, bam. You know, it's all over the place because I just want to rant, but, you know, this video probably going on to 30 minutes. I'm just gonna give y'all, you know, a little wrap. I'm gonna try to wrap this up. But all right, 4 month mark. You know, I get into them, start spending some money on them. We start hanging out. We start doing cool stuff. You know, everything good got to come to an end, right? She puts me back on block. Then I want to jump the present now, but, you know, she okay, boom, yeah, we are going good. Boom, she put me on block. We get back together, right? We don't get back together, but we get back together. And I haven't even told y'all, you know, some mistakes she's done on her part, right? I haven't even, because this is not to bash her. Like, this is not to bash her. We get back together. But also in my head, this is also a sacrifice. She is, I hate to say, she's kind of unruly. She's kind of unruly, and it kind of be hard living with her. It almost takes some years to be good with her, like, not a parasitic relationship. So it would be a sacrifice to be with her. I was willing to take that sacrifice to be with my kid, right? All right, so we get back together. All right, so we were looking for apartments. Like, you know, we get good. She started coming back over to the house. You know, I'm doing my two-step, right? Trying to get in this apartment, right? Boom, bam. My parents about to put their name on it or whatever, right? You know, it's the, you know, of course, things can't go good. The start of that day, not the start, but, you know, we about to eat. We about to go, you know, it was after church or something. We about to eat. And, we get into it on the way to Cracker Barrel, right? We get into it on the way to Cracker Barrel. You know, long story short, I end up just, you know, grabbing my kid. Nothing crazy. I just end up grabbing my kid, opening my door, and walking out of the car, right? Nothing drastic, right? You know, we're by Cracker Barrel, off the exit of 204, if you know where that's at. I head to the, you know, the nearest hotel over there, you know what I'm saying? So I walk over there, she, you know, walks back, you know, we you know, we kind of just, like, stop arguing at that point, just walk back to Cracker Barrel. You know, we in Cracker Barrel now, long story short. She ends up getting into it with my parents, you know, in essence. She doesn't order food, kind of makes a scene in the restaurant or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, we end up don't getting this apartment, right? We end up don't getting this apartment. And since this is wrapping up, why this could go all wrong is why, like, why this could go all wrong is because I want to be in the same, you know, I want to be in the same house as my kid. I don't want to have to do all this core stuff like I was just describing, like those 5 points of why I would have to do that when we could, when I there's probably a lot of, you know, there's a lot of mistakes in her head that I've probably done, but, you know, I just couldn't name them. But those are probably the two most drastic I can think of in my head, because I've never done nothing to that girl for her to come to for me to petition this. I'm petitioning this, and this is why this is almost why I'm just making this video, because this is rare in statistics wise, right? So, you know, I hate to wrap this up because I want to keep rambling. You know, I just keep rambling. Like, this is such an emotional thing for me. All right, since we're just chopping it up, I'll probably just say this discussing topic, right? So let's get funny. Why is this terrible, right? Why is this terrible? Since I kind of gave you a, you know, all out splattered version of what I got going on, right? Why is this terrible? One, my son needs tradition. He does need tradition. He needs a bloodline of good men that's in the household, and good women, obviously, aka my mom, his grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Need a better background. Hate to bring in not status, but she's over in a trailer park right now. She's in a trailer park. I'm in a 2-story house, so I'm just gonna say that, right? She's geographically she's just in a worse location, right? That's harming the kid, right? She's doing that. I'm over here trying, my mother trying. Meanwhile, on her side, her village is saying, I have no input on this. From what I see, you should just leave it alone. That's what her village is saying to me. I remember asking her village, my baby mother's mother, remember asking her, like, am I wrong for trying? You know what I'm saying? I got voice recordings of this. Like, am I wrong? And like, am I doing the wrong thing trying here? I can't remember whatever came out her mouth or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Just the wrong background and village. I've been saying them two words a lot the past 2 years. Like, cause I just feel that I'm gonna say this phrase a lot. I can't blame her. She doesn't know no better. She doesn't know any better. Don't get me wrong. This is where I praise her. She is a beautiful mother. She take care of that kid. But does she understand the how crucial a 2-parent household is? Does she understand how much stronger our kid could be? She doesn't know any better. Only because her mother doesn't know any better. You can pick who's your favorite character. I don't want to put fake names out there because I could say my baby mother's name, but let's not do that yet. So you know what I'm saying? She doesn't know any better. All right, boom. This is the chat. This is the chat type. This is the chat ending of the conversation. Let's talk about black people, right? Because this is black people always talking about the white man, right? But this is the darn problem right here. We need to get our households together, because it starts in the house. It doesn't start in the gym at the basketball courts. It starts in the house. How you gonna expect your kid to go out? How you gonna expect your kid to go out in school, respect if he's at the house doing his thing? You know what I'm saying? With no dad around and the mom's working all the time. He gonna be in the streets as a black male. He gonna be, if he ain't doing his homework inside, he's with the guys. You know what I'm saying? So this is very informational for black people. What we got going on. This could be very helpful. And as a black male, trying to pursue a rare case of paternity, I found this to be a very good episode. And this sounds like a wrapping up, but I'm gonna talk for like 5 more minutes. This is we just what does this say? Filing a petition for legitimate. You usually file this in the country where the child are, So all right, let me give you a vent. All right. Valentine's Day came up, right? So I went to where I thought she was still at. Valentine's Day, got some flowers, some cookies, whatever. I got some stuff for the kid and stuff. Some stuff I've been had, and some new stuff. And she's not there, right? She's not there. So I'm talking to the stepdad, right? I'm talking to the stepdad of my baby mother, right? And he like, yeah, they been out of here. They somewhere else. I'm like, well, do you have my baby mother's phone number, right? Because she has me blocked, right? Long story short, she not trying to talk to me. I go on to start talking to her mother. She's, she playing ring around the rosy with me. She's giving me uneducated answers and advice and stuff, and she's just giving me a whole bunch of uneducation, right? And it's, this is one thing about this podcast. We stand on education. Like, if you're giving me some non-logic, like, dang, it's hard to, because, what I'm saying, my baby mother's background, like, her mother, like, if you lose something's up with her. Like if I'm on some investigative stuff, like something's up with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she don't. It's not even that I need her help or nothing. She don't. You know, she don't do nothing for me at all. Like, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to ask me who I don't like, it would be my baby mother's mother. Like, my baby mother gave me such a beautiful kid. You know what I'm saying? And I'd love if we work things out, but she put me in a corner once again. And this is why I am making these episodes. And eventually this will turn into something else, right? You know, if you don't know me, I want to come out with a lot of things. A lot of things in life. I want to, you know, come out with a lot of different businesses. And maybe this can just be a branch off from what, you know. But stay on topic. You know, why is this bad for the black household in and of itself? Number two, I would say this is bad for boys in general, right? If you grow up with, you know, a whole lot of feminine energy, you know, people gotta, dang, see, I be stuttering. People just have to realize if you grow, and it's probably statistic too, if you grow around more feminine energy, you're more or less probably gonna be, you know, homosexual growing up, right? Like, say you grew up with 5 sisters in the household, and I was a dude. I'm gonna probably be having some female tendencies, right? It's almost inevitable, right? So, you know, it's a knock on black households, and it's a knock for boys in general. Like, boys need to have houses. See, look at me. Boys need to have fathers in the household. That goes to the why factor. Why am I talking about this? I want to say my kid's name, but you know what I'm saying? I don't even know my full kid's name, right? This is the process, right? You're going to be learning some crazy stuff, and really how I feel about this, why, you know, probably why I'm all over the place, right? I feel like this is going to be a good series of, you know, me rambling my thoughts, right? What I call him, like, is his first name mixed with, like, a nickname, right? But I wish I could show y'all pictures just yet. I'm going to show y'all some pictures, obviously, but wish I could show y'all some pictures. But yeah, another thing, like, dang, when have you heard a man talk about, oh, I'm trying to take baby pictures with you and stuff? She had me feeling like I'm just bending over and stuff. I'm like, dang, like you really not finna let me see my, like, I can't go to the birth, like, we wasn't even getting into it, you know what I'm saying? Around that time, I'm like, can I please go to my kids, like when he's born, his birth? Yo, she stripped me from all that. Like, all them, I basically call them refrigerator pictures. Like, she basically stripped me from all that, right? So, you know, I guess I'm coming up on the hour mark. I guess I'll probably stop talking y'all's heads off. I'm gonna go through the vocabulary words one more time. I'm probably gonna miss one, right? Legitimation, tradition, village, contest, background. That's it. Then the phrase, she doesn't know any better. I can't be mad at her. That's all I'm gonna say. I just can't be mad at her. It's also owning my mistakes. I got her pregnant, right? But, you know, blessing and a curse, right? The most beautiful kid came out of it, right? Can't never be mad at it. I just got to deal with this adversity right here. Legitimation of paternity. This is what I'm going to end this video on. This is why I made this video right here. This is why I made episode 1. Why am I doing all this? Legitimation of paternity. It is important for me, the biological dad, to be in my kid's life. Baby mother.